My name is Sanchi. I work here at Solar Options for Schools as a decarbonisation advisor and fundraising manager. But for the purposes of this session, I'm going to be the moderator. I don't think we necessarily need a moderator because this is a small group, but if you're all shouting questions, I'm here to take them all, basically. And feel free to either raise your hand to ask your question or even use the chat feature if you prefer that. Just a couple of housekeeping announcements before I pass over to Wendy. This session is recorded and it will be sent over along with the slides and the next steps in an email after the session is done. And with that, I will pass over to Wendy. And in the meantime, if you want to introduce yourself in the chat and maybe what school you're from or what role you are at the school or trust or council that you're at potentially, and what you're kind of looking to get out of the webinar. So yeah, any details about you in the chat would be great for us to get started. And Wendy, over to you.
Okay, good morning. So the idea of these is it's going to be about 15-20 minutes it will be the first Tuesday of every month, just a quick snapshot of solar in our schools and what it can do. So in other words, to give you a bite-sized breakfast download of sustainability and hopefully a little bit of inspiration for the day. So we're going to a very quick agenda. We'll go through all the things in very short bite-sized things. If you need any more answers and questions, A, it'll be on the website, and B, we'll be more than happy to talk through things. So I think when you're introducing your school to solar, or you're reminding your school about solar, or you're leading on sustainability and you happen to have solar, I think one of the most important things you need to know is a very, very basic overview of what it is. So most of our energy is generated from the traditional way of a dynamo being turned. However, solar is completely different, and we generate this through a direct current, which then needs to be changed into an alternating current. And this alternating current is just quickly demonstrated in a graph there. So our direct current is literally one phase of electricity. Basically, you get a straight line, very much like your batteries. And to use it in our homes or in schools, needs to be alternating. So it alternates and it changes phase 50 times a second, which is super fast. That's why we don't actually see the flickers or anything like that. So we have inverters to do that within school, which is part of your installation. Now this could go on, we can go on without this at GCSE and A-level physics, but we won't do that this morning. Okay, so very, very quickly again, how the solar panel basically works. So we describe it as a little bit of a sandwich. Okay, it's like a silicon sandwich. You've got the glass on the outside and you've got two different metals. When the sun's rays hit those metals, the photons of energy excite some electrons and they cause a current, this direct current to be made. And hence we can then change that into an alternating current and power your school. Again, we can go through this in full lessons for the children, but for now, I think that's all we need to know this morning. So what can we do to help you should you have solar panels installed in school? So our main port of call is our education website. We explain this on the install or when we have a visit. As this is a new website, some of our older schools are being introduced to this as we visit, who've not seen this. So this is a completely new one for them. And we navigate using the top row there. So the About button obviously tells a little bit more about the team. I've got a comprehensive team across the country to try and reduce our travel. Our resources, the first tab, the resources, is really useful. Many teachers will look at this as a first port of call. Within lessons, resources they can just literally click on and use. Others they might want to delve down into a little bit more. And then the other button, which I think is one of the most important ones for the staff, is the Get Involved. We've got a scheme called the Solar Ambassador Scheme, which helps teachers, especially those who run the eco groups after school or anything along those lines. So we've got booklets that they can download. So I've been there, I've done the 5 out of 5 lessons. I've done the morning duty, the dinner duty, and then after school having 30 bright, wide-eyed children very excited to do an eco group when I feel like anything less than doing that at the end of the day. So we've tried to do some resources which will just help that teacher out, especially if they're the one who's left with a huge group who need some things to do. So how to start the eco group, and of course tips to reduce energy. Of course, green transport comes into sustainability, and that will probably feature in your climate action plans. If you've not already started those, we'll have a webinar talking about not only how to find help to start those and how to enact them later. Increasing biodiversity, again, we'll talk about that, and global citizenships. Now, all these get involved parts have recommendations for all the other sustainability providers. So whilst we see ourselves as helping you with sustainability, we are also very good at pointing you in the right direction of other people who will help you, especially those who operate in a free capacity. So that's the most, trying to get the most out of what we can do and you do. Now, obviously, being to do with solar, one of our main aims is obviously to reduce your energy. And we have a comprehensive education portal. If you're new to Solar for Schools, you can actually look on our main website, solarforschools.co.uk, and you can see all the schools with their generation data. So if you see the graphs in front of the bar there, the yellow parts, which is the generation from the sun, this is openly available on our website to compare different schools. You can look at secondary, primary, special needs. Everybody has a different need within their school. So some are very high consumption. If anyone's got a swimming pool or anything like that, you will have. If you have lettings in the evening, these complicate things as well. But most of all, this helps you to see what's going on and also compare with the schools. So if we just look at this graph there really quickly, the generation, this is an annual picture. So you can just see that lovely kind of like bell-shaped curve going on there, with June generally being the highest month of consumption. And at either end, you've got December and January with a much lower. The imported bit is the red bit. Now, if anyone's on here is a business manager or with a finance, that's the bit you want to get down. So those red lines there are the ones you want to be reducing. The green one is the export, which if you join our Community Benefit Society, the export goes to the Community Benefit Society, and then they have the chance to actually decide what to do with this. When we return a profit, we're hoping to be able to share this with our schools as well. And you obviously become a voting member of the Community Benefit Society, and we welcome any active members to that. The consumption bit is the blue line, which is what you're actually consuming as a school. Just last week we were in a school and they charge their iPads overnight. So they've switched to charge their iPads at dinner time when the sun's at the highest. So they're going to be charging basically on the solar rate, which is much cheaper than in the evening. Lots of little wins we can do. This data as well is actually every 5 minutes. So you could actually delve down into this if you really wanted to. So you can see there that graph when we actually click on a month. We can click on a day, and then we can go into what's been happening that day. Again, you can just about see that yellow, again, that yellow generation, that lovely curve. And you can also see what's been going on in schools, or things like when the kitchens switch on for the ovens, you can monitor. There are some schools who have electric shutters. You can see them going up and down morning and evening. Some people have air source heat pumps that are on. Some schools are lucky and have swimming pools. So you can see different things from this, and you'll be able to tune into your school very easily. Lots of interesting information that the children can use, as well as business managers. We actually really encourage the staff to use this. Some schools have a screen like the one previous on every computer when they log on in the morning. So the children are very well aware of that. And that is actually primary school. So Key Stage 1, Year 1 are looking at the weather, and they use our graphs to help them with the weather. So we have got lots of other things to support you. Obviously, we'll go through these in detail with the different webinars, but one of the ones I'd like to just bring your attention to is our app. Our app has got lots of learning journeys. I can show you very quickly in a minute some of these, because we have it on we can have it on the computer. We can have it on an iPad or a tablet, or we can have it on the phone, depending on what your students' ages are and what your school requirements are. Just on the right of that picture there, you can see that student is actually working with Danielle, one of our educators, on the Paneliser. Now, this is a really clever software platform that we have designed. We use this for real with our designers, and Sanjay will be able to talk through this in a minute. But the most important thing, I think, as a teacher, is we have a children's version of this within the app. So the children can actually put the panels on their school roof. They can see how much energy that it requires. They can do this. We can do it with year one with a clock and stick. We can do it up to A level, where we're talking about the angles, the glint and glare, and all the other various things that we have to come up with. And there's lots in between, thinking about trees, south facing, etc. The children really do engage in this. A great way to bring green careers into your school, playing, but enjoying something that's really useful. At the end of that, it also gives you all the data about what the energy is that's stored. On another school-based point, I just want to Key Stage 2 and Key Stage 3 teachers, particularly science, the units of learning are energy, electricity, environment efficiency, and of course we have a solar one as well in there. Pupil action is probably the most important aspect that we want to drive. The peer-to-peer learning, we have the solar ambassadors that I mentioned already. They tend to go into different schools, from the older children going out to the younger schools going to other schools. We need to give our children a voice and a reason, of hope for the future as well. All the things that we talk about are very positive, and we try and instill that they are the change makers of the world. So all the things that we do as well also will feed into your climate action plans, or anything such as the Eco Schools Award. So the energy part of the Eco Schools, we can fulfil all that. We're very conscious of what the DFE say. I do have meetings with the DFE quite regularly, and we're talking about supporting those with all of our schools. So hopefully we'll be able to signpost people. If we don't have the answer, we certainly know who will do. So if I just finish by recapping what we've got there, then we can have some questions and some questions if that's appropriate. So just the main focus of our work is energy literacy. So we'll be introducing renewable energy. We can put it in context towards non-renewable energy. We can set the seed in whatever way the schools like. One of the most important things, obviously, is to reduce costs for schools and look at how those costs can be, those savings can be redirected within the school budget. Pupils understand more about the school buildings, and they can also apply this to their homes. Very important aspect. We are not just teaching them for that lesson. We are wanting them to take information home to their parents, how to heat houses, how to save money. And we all know that there are schools where the deprivation levels are reasonably high, and we can really make a difference by just giving them a few little tips. Sustainability leads, business managers, classroom teachers are supported at any point that they need to. We do deliver whole school CPD as well, but most importantly, come in person, so we can come and help you and talk through. You don't need to do it on Teams. We can do this with the annual visual inspection, the lesson, and then we're happy to do support afterwards. Okay, so I'm happy to open the floor to questions. Sanjay, if there's anything, please do fire away.
Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself and voice your question out loud. You don't just have to put it in the chat.
Yeah. So Liz, everything is tailored towards things like this. We've got several special schools within our portfolio. All our educators are, most of them are actually former senior leaders within school as well, so they're happy to sit down with science leads. For example, I was with the science lead for the Discovery Trust last week, and we've embedded this across their curriculum. So all the children will receive it, no matter which year group they're in, and each year it'll change. So these things, I think I'd probably describe, we're putting the action in your climate action plan. We're actually helping you get it done. and meet those objectives. We've got trusts who've seen around 20% reduction in energy costs. We do have the data for this, but obviously solar install, the energy monitoring, behaviour change is not just down to us, it's a school culture. Probably one of the biggest things is the CBS, and the fact that the CBS can make any investment you have go much further. So rather than, obviously we can do different models, Sancha can talk through those for specific schools if needed, but rather than you footing the whole bill, we can foot part of that to enable some of your money being diverted into other things within school. So that is a really good way of what I'd say is stretching the money.
Just one question that I have actually for I think it's Annette, who's from the Lighthouse Learning Trust. I just wanted to ask if you have already seen or been familiar with the Paneliser.
Hi, Sanchi. No, I don't think we've seen that. We had some discussions with you guys a year or two ago, and then we had to sort of pause on it for various reasons. But no, I haven't yet looked at the Paneliser.
Okay, no, that's absolutely fine. I ask because just on a trust level, we would do what we refer to as a desktop feasibility study, which is the Paneliser in depth for all of the schools in a trust. So if that's something that a trust is interested in, then we definitely also include that option. And then like Wendy mentioned, because we have partnerships in place, some trusts are also eligible for National Grid grant funding, which is one of our partners. And then we would apply that grant at a trust level again, so CFOs like yourself can see what the savings and the costs would be, basically. Okay. So yeah, that's just one thing I wanted to add. And then I have another question from Anne about whether this is the first webinar. So yes, this is the first webinar. It's the first in a series called Rise and Shine, because they're so early in the morning. It's basically each of these is going to be doing a deep dives into one of the education topics that we've got. So this one was the first one. It's going to be a monthly series. It's going to be the first Tuesday of every month from October onwards. And this one is designed to just give you a high level of introducing solar to school. But there is a website link where you can see what the other topics are going to be, and you can register for them as well. So we've got all of the webinars put in the calendar until December this year, and we've got a whole new bunch of them coming up in January.
Yeah, and we're happy to react to anybody who need of certain things. We're happy to do that. I think I just want other thing I just want to add with the Paneliser. If you are looking at other options of funding, we can put that in the Paneliser to give you the data as well. It's a very clever software development tool. It's not just our funding model you can put in others. So we work well with community energy groups across the country. We support them as well, so lots of different ways of doing this. So yeah, so the idea is there'll be about 20 minutes for the webinar, and when you need to leave, drop off, stay on for questions and answers. We're flexible, we know how schools are, we know how things come up. We will have them recorded and keep them in a pack so you can actually go back and refer to them should you need. So this was just an overview, and we will, like Sanchi said, deep dive into various other aspects. So myself and Danielle will do the webinars alongside Sancha. Our contact details are on there for the education. If you need anything for the finance or the start of a solar journey, just reach out and we'll pass you on to the right people. So I have to say thank you for joining us this morning. We're here now as long as you want. Feel free to drop off. We're not offended. We know how schools work. So just fire a question. We'll carry on as long as you need us to be. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. Have a wonderful day ahead.